Hello!
Hello! Today we are looking at Istanbul. This is a 2 to 5 player game by Pegasus Spiel.
Yeah, this is a nice Rudiger Dorn game. We've been asked to review this by one of our viewers, so thank you, Victoria Zylak. I think it's, apologies for pronunciation. So Victoria Zylak. Thank you for asking us to do this one. We've had it on the shelf, it's been in this space here, Q2 for yonks, and we've not got it to the table. Mainly because it's quite daunting looking to sort of get going.
I've looked at it and thought I'm not really intrigued to play it.
Yeah, exactly. And I think when I did our Kallax reviews, sort of talking through the shelves, Victoria said about, oh, can you do a review on this one? Because she's thinking about buying it. So we had to play it.
We had to. I wasn't keen.
So, yeah.
I just see that and I think it's not my thing that I'm particularly intrigued about.
No,
personally,
I know.
from my point of view.
I know. But anyway, so it got us to get it to the table, and there we are. So let's review it now. So
yes.
I'll explain the way that it plays first of all. I will just say this is the big box version, so this has got 2 extra expansions in the box, but we just played the base game just so that we could get it up to the table and give it a quick review. So the reason it was kind of a slow get to the table for us was we watched Rodney Smith's how to play on this one, when we sort of first got it or whatever. We love Rodney Smith and his instructional videos, brilliant. If you've not seen them, check them out because he's great. It helps you to learn the game. But we watched the instructional video for this one and it seemed massively daunting to us. It just seemed like the game was going to be really complex.
No, not playing it.
Yeah,
not playing it.
I mean, you played Castles of Burgundy, say, and that was quite complicated for you, even though it's a relatively straightforward game, it seems. But there's just so much going on, and this seemed even worse than that. But I will say, if you watch that video, probably half of the video is the instructions for setting it up on the table. And Rodney is very sort of thorough with the way that he explains it. And it is really, he makes it very simple for you to lay the game out just by following his video as you do it kind of thing. And that is what seemed daunting when you kind of rewatch it a second time. The game's not that complicated, it's just the setup's relatively complicated, and he was being very thorough on the way that he was explaining it. And in fact, there is obviously a setup page in the instruction manual that says how to lay it all out and all that sort of stuff. And it is relatively straightforward, but there's quite a lot going on the board because it's kind of, well, I'll explain in a second, lots going on. But the actual gameplay, fairly straightforward. So when you kind of get to the actual bit where he says this is how you play, it's actually quite straightforward.
I think this is the ultimate in, you're daunted by it, but once you start playing it, you're not daunted.
Straightforward, exactly. Right. So the way that it plays, in the base game, there are, I think there's more in the 16 tiles that they suggest you play your first game with. But again, I haven't really looked at them because there's a big pile of other tiles, some of which are the expansions. But I think some of the others are also part of this game. You can kind of slot in and out. And you lay them out in a 4x4 grid, so you've got 16 tiles, and they're laid out in this specific order.
It tells you, doesn't it, the order that
it does. And the reason they do that is because it makes it more of either more of a challenge or less of a challenge, your first game, to move around the board efficiently and get the things you need. And so the main setup of the game really is like a worker placement and sort of pick-up delivery system. So you lay out the tiles, you put all the resources on the tiles that are needed, so rubies and little tiles that you can buy in, bonus cards, things like that. You lay them all out and it's all ready to go, and then you get your little stack of men. Basically there's one kind of trader, is the master trader, and then a set of secondary traders that are stacked underneath him or her, and you start them all on the fountain. And if you're playing a 2-player game like we are, you play the other sort of 3 characters that are not in the game. You place them around the board in certain places to start them off, and then each time you kind of encounter them on a space, you roll with dice and move them somewhere else. So they're constantly moving around the board as well, which means, well, when you come to see, you have to pay them money when you arrive.
That is good, otherwise we probably wouldn't ever land on each other's.
That's right.
Rarely.
Yeah, exactly. So it makes it a bit more kind of, take that with the other players that aren't playing. So you start with a certain amount of money. It's only like 2 lira or 3 lira, depending on who's first and second. And the idea is that you take your stack of workers and you move it to a tile. You can either move 1 space or 2 spaces, and they're adjacent tiles. So 1, 2, or 1. And when you arrive, you drop a worker off. and then when you move again, you drop a worker off the next tile, and so on. So every time you go to a tile, you either drop a worker off, or if then you're empty of workers, or in fact if you go back to a tile where there's already one of your workers, you then pick him up. So you
get
either
him in the van.
yeah, so you either drop one off or pick one up every time you encounter a tile. So if there's one of your men on the tile, you pick them up. If there's not, you drop one off. If you haven't got any to drop off, you just move around anyway without doing either. And then on each tile there's an action. So for instance, there are marketplaces where you can sell goods. There are
gem dealers where you buy gems.
Yeah, but you need a lot of money to do that. So you need to get some goods and sell goods. So you sell goods, buy goods. There are a couple of warehouses where if you visit them, you max out your resources for that.
There's a black market where you can risk and maybe buy some jewellery.
Yeah, there is some dice rolling involved with that because jewellery is quite hard to get hold of, one of the resources. And so you kind of roll dice to see if you just randomly get some jewellery.
There's a police station
there's a police station where so there's another character which is a family member, they call it, and they start off in the police station.
And then most of your family are in jail.
Well, they're obviously a bit roguish, these people, these traders.
Black markets,
exactly. So so if you go to the police station square, you free your family member and they can go off anywhere on the board, not sort of 1-2 spaces, they can literally fly off anywhere and take that action.
Without paying the other dummy players as well,
if they bump into any dummy players, you don't pay. So that's quite a nice thing. But the other thing as well, if you land on a tile where the opposing family members, you send them back to jail and you get some bonus cards for that. And the bonus cards are all sort of movements or money or goods, things like that. So, and you can play them anytime in your turn. So lots of little actions that you can take, really nice. There's a Wainwright, which basically you've got your little trailer, your little cart, and that starts with 4 little cubes. It starts with 4 little cubes down the left hand side on 0, and there are 3 available slots to the right of those cubes, and each time you land on a resource you move your cube across.
What are the resources?
To support
jewellery, fruit, spices, and what's the red one?
Cloth, isn't it?
Cloth.
Yeah.
And
so basically you can obviously go right the way across to the 3rd slot with any of those cubes, depending on when you pick them up, and then that's then maxed out. So in fact, if you go to the warehouse where they're selling cloth, you max out your cloth one all the way to the right there, so it's 3 across.
So you get 3 cloth.
But of course there's this little space on the trailer that you can then upgrade your trailer to more slots, and there's a Wainwright shop that you do that. You go there, you pay 7 lira, and you grab an extra little tile that slots into your and then you can max out further up, and that obviously, as the game progresses, you can build your trailer up fully. So you've got, I think it's 7 or 8 slots there, isn't it? So. Might be 6 or so slots.
6 maybe, yeah.
And so when you go to one of those warehouses and you max out your resource, it goes all the way along to 6. So that enables you to then sell a lot more if you go to the market, for instance. So really nice little kind of mechanics in the way that it all works. And where you've got sort of rubies on various things like the Sultan's Palace or the jewellery, the gem seller, there's a sliding scale of jewels. So you've got the rubies start, for instance, saying on the gem seller, they start on 15 lira or something like that. So when you take that one for 15 lira, the money just goes into the bank. The next one is 16, and if you buy that one, the next one is 17, and so on. So it's like earlier the better. And then there are also some tiles at the top which are available for purchase, and they're again the cheaper the earlier you buy them. They're kind of stacked up.
And
so there's a grand mosque and a smaller mosque. And they enable you to do certain things every turn. So, for instance, you could...
bonus ones, like the one with the dice where you can roll
You
again,
can adjust basically. The dice roll, manipulate the dice roll. And then, again, when you get the 2, so there's 2 in each mosque, at either side of the board. When you've purchased one of each of those tiles, you also then get a ruby from there. And basically, the aim of the game is to get the rubies. The first one to get 6 rubies wins the game in a 2-player game. 5 in a more player game, but it's 2
Must
and 2.
Be 6 in the crate then for 6 rubies.
Yeah, true enough. Yeah. And so that's the way the game plays. You take it in turns, moving around the board. There are a couple of other characters on the board, which are little kind of posts. One is to give you bonus cards. If you encounter them, you can take bonus cards, and the other one enables you to take a bonus resource, so you can, whilst you bump into them, you can
smuggler and
you can buy a resource from them. So yeah, a really neat little game, and as we said, that initial fear about how complicated it is, not at all, because all you literally are doing is moving around the board
and dealing with what you land on.
Yeah, and you're trying to acquire goods so that you can sell goods, so that you can buy rubies. Yeah.
And you're racing to do it first before the other person.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. And so you're moving around the board, and so if you, one thing I didn't say just now was if you land on the same space that there is another player and or one of these dummy players, you have to pay them 2 lira for sort of encroaching on their space. So if you land on a space where there's 2 other players and the other player, that's like 6 lira you have to pay. The 2 to the dummy player goes into the bank, but the 2 for the opposing player goes to their kitty, basically. So yeah, in the first couple of rounds you've only got sort of 5, 6, 7 lira, and then further in, I say rounds, there aren't rounds, it's just continuous, but for the first sort of 10 minutes or so you've only got a couple of lira.
And you're trying to get a bit of money to get big goods.
Yeah, and then suddenly you start getting loads of money and the game really ramps up. So it really, I mean, it says on the side of the box 40 to 80 minutes. I think 40 minutes for a 2-player game is about right, and we were learning it as we went as well.
Sometimes you get there and you're thinking where to go, but sometimes actually it's quite like
it's almost
you'll go.
Yeah, it's almost obvious because your trailer, obviously, when you say, for instance, you've got a lot of goods in your trailer, you're loaded up with goods. The obvious thing to do then is to sell your goods. So you literally make your way. Obviously, it's only 1 or 2 spaces at a time, so you're kind of doing other things as you get there. But you make your way to one of the markets. And if you can sell on one of the market tiles, it's got 5 different goods, and if you can sell all 5 of those, you get something like 20 lira. If you can only sell 3 of those, that's fine, but it equals a lesser amount of money. So if you sell 3, you might get 8 lira or 10 lira or something like that. So when you've got a stack full of goods in your trolley, the obvious thing to do is go to the marketplace and sell them, and then you get loads of money, and then the obvious thing is to go and buy some jewels. So it's quite straightforward what you're doing. You're trying to get the goods, trying to sell the goods, trying to get the rubies. Very simple. First, and you're just moving around one at a time to do that.
So I would say don't be put off by the setup.
No,
the fact
certainly
that
not.
Each area has different things, because I didn't really think about each square until you land on it, and it's kind of obvious what you have to do once you land on there, isn't it? You kind of realise, now I've got to sell my goods.
And I will say, we played this one. Well, I played like a dummy run through on my own to make sure I could figure it out and it wasn't too imposing for Bear. And then we played it once. So I played like as a 2-player. I played for me and then I played for Bear. I'm getting to that. So
make that point.
So yeah,
I
played on my own, and Bear beat me in that game. And then we played live, and Bear beat me in that game. So I played it twice, so say.
My game.
Well, yeah, exactly. So that's how not complicated it is.
I had 6 gems to your 3 gems.
Yeah, you hammered me, and I thought I knew what I was doing, but obviously I taught you well. Anyway, so
you were getting lots of money. You liked a lot of money. And I was getting like, I could just about afford a gem. I'll go and buy one.
Yeah, exactly. I was too slow buying the gems. Well, I didn't think it was going to be over that quick, to be fair. So yeah, it is. It's quite a swift game. So yeah, not at all daunting. Very straightforward.
No.
And obviously the tiles, they are variable. Like I say, in the manual it says about putting it in a certain order for the first game, but I guess generally you could probably just shuffle them up. I haven't read that part of the rule book that says how you go on through your next games. There might be another setup which is slightly harder and another one again, or it might just be randomly shuffled. But either way, it's a variable board, so you can't get to that point where I know the layout, I know what I'm doing, because that adds a different challenge of how you pick your way around, because the idea obviously is that you're trying to do it as fast as you can, so the shortest route.
Yeah.
And I just thought the reason you've got this stack of people and that you're dropping one off as you go is because they count as people you bump into and pay money to.
Yes.
So I didn't make that clear. So it's not just your top one with the little sticker on, the little merchant. It's all the people underneath your sort of sub-merchants. Wherever they are, if you encounter the other person's token, you have to pay them too.
It's good to put them on things you think the other person's going to land
so
on.
that's the whole point of you drop them off.
Yeah,
you drop them off at places that they're going to go to, and then you go back and pick them up and move them to somewhere else where they've then got to go to. So you're basically getting in their way, and they have to pay you money. That's
What's
the point.
What's your favourite one? Your favourite kind of?
I don't really. The marketplace, I think. I mean, obviously, when you go to all the 3 warehouses, you max out all your
yeah, they're good.
You go to max on all your resources, whichever one it is, so fruit or cloth. So they're obviously helpful, but I really like it. I really like the marketplace. When you go there and you've got loads good and you sell them, you get a big wad of money. Brilliant. What's your favourite?
I think is it the tea rooms or the tea shop?
Oh, that's quite a good one. Yeah.
Where you have to say a number between 3 and 12.
Yeah.
Because that's what you would roll on a dice.
Yeah.
And then if you roll your number that you've said or greater, higher, you get that number. So I think you've said like 8 and you roll it, and if you get 9.
You get lira.
Euros, pounds.
Yeah.
You get that 8 because you said that number. If you roll less than 8,
you get 2.
Always get 2.
Yeah,
if you
just
roll
default 2. But that's good. Yeah.
It's quite good. It's a bit like
you could literally say, "Oh, I'm going to roll 10," and you roll.
You could risk it and say, "Yeah, I'm going to say 12." And
if you get 10 or higher, then you get 10 lira.
Especially if you have the bonus card where you can roll dice again.
True. Yeah. That's a good call.
That's good. Like a thief.
Yeah. So I also like the Wainwright, to be fair, because again, the one that expands your cart. Because that's like an obvious thing you want to do is expand your cart as early as possible, so you get more goods each time you go to the goods sort of warehouses.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But in summary, I would say don't be put off by any thinking it's confusing or anything. It's not.
Not at all.
It's good, great fun. I think it's good fun.
Really nice game.
And I want to play it again.
Yeah. Okay. So let's jump to the scores then at this point. So you go first if you like.
Yes, I say I was very impressed. I think it was the ultimate one in like. I don't want to play it. Why would I have to play it? I don't want to play it. To like, actually, I do quite like it. It's a good not 360.
They're all like
180,
this.
Not 360.
They're all like this.
They're not.
They are.
Check out. Anyway, I'm gonna give it 7.5.
Nice. That's a good score.
It's up there for me.
Yeah. I mean, same as I was quite daunted by that video we watched, thinking, "Oh no, it's really complicated."
Not just me though, surely.
But but it's not that complicated. That was literally just the setup that's complicated, and it's not complicated if you follow the rules. So,
and it's fun being a race as well.
Yeah, it's a really nice worker placement, pick up delivery thing. Mm-hmm. It's got lots of options. So yeah, I mean there are 16 different things to do, which is great.
Having to think about the grid movement, about like. I can go 2 down there, or I can go 1 and left there. Yeah. Which one is the best one?
It's really nice. I really like it. It's a very, very well written game.
Well, it wasn't any AP.
No, not really.
Really?
No.
I was like, I was a bit kind of, what do I do for the best? But then I know I've got.
Well, that's what I mean. It's kind of obvious, isn't it? Yeah. If you're full of goods, you don't want to get goods.
Yeah.
So and if you're empty of goods, you want to get goods. So it's kind of obvious, really. Yeah. So yeah. I really like it. This is. I'm going right up 8.5 with this one. Really like it. Yeah, really like it.
I can see how you like it.
Yeah, 8.5. So that's.
That's probably more on.
What's yours? 7.5.
7.5.
8.5. 15. 16.
16. I
Nice.
can see you probably like the theme more than me. Maybe.
Yeah, well, maybe I'm easy with the theme. Yeah, you're a little bit kind of.
But it's good.
Yeah, really good. So. For Victoria, definitely check this one out. It's really worth it. And so
thank you for convincing me to.
Yeah, exactly.
to try it.
So this is, like I say, this has got the 2 expansions in. If you get this, the base game, fine, go for it. But obviously, the 2 expansions, it just adds some different tiles, and also it adds some different abilities and different trades that you can do. And stuff like that.
Secret envelopes here.
Yeah, so there are different things in it. So this is like a mocha coffee sort of thing. Expansion, and this one some sort of secret society thing. So yeah, we haven't played those, but I mean, if you get a big box
to play them.
For ease, then yeah, why not? Exactly. So there we go. 16 out of 20, very good score. Really like this one.
It's 2 to 5.
Yeah, thoroughly recommend it. Works well at 2, as well. Definitely works well at 2.
And obviously, Pegasus.
Yeah.
Who is it?
Rudiger Dorn again. Yeah, well done, Rudiger. Okay, well, so there you go, guys. Thanks very much. Thanks for requesting this one. And if there's any others that you guys want to request, stick some comments below, and we'll jump on them as soon as we can, because there are lots to play. Obviously, some of them are 3-player minimum only, so don't kind of ask for those. But anything that's 2-player that we've not played before. We've got a review of this coming up soon as well, so check that one out soon. Because we played that a couple of weeks back on a request, so we'll do that one soon. Okay, thanks guys. So check out all our other reviews and our top 10s. We've got a new top 10 coming up soon as well. Ooh, yeah, this might be on that. Okay guys, so we'll see you on the next one. Like, subscribe, as Bear says, and happy gaming.
Bye.
Cheers.